Well, I held in as long as I could. Still 5 minutes and 54 seconds left in this game, but it is over. It's been over since halfway through the first period. Maybe after the first TV timeout of this game. The Michigan Wolverine basketball team went on the road and to Mackey Arena, and that crowd and that team was ready to go. Michigan lost this game. It's not official yet, but the crowd was rocking early. The game started with a couple of turnovers by Trey Donaldson and transition points for Purdue. Then Michigan took 2 bad threes, and they kept taking them throughout the game. Wolf and Burnett early were way off the mark. It was 6-0 Purdue. Michigan had an offensive foul. Foul, and the Donaldson got his pocket picked yet again. So another turnover for our point guard. That is not supposed to happen in Michigan basketball. But his pocket was picked for another layup. Then Purdue forced Michigan's 5th turnover early in this game. C.J. Cox hit a 3. They're still hitting shots. It's 83-57 with 5 minutes left. Purdue is for real. Finally, some ball movement by Michigan. They just can't. 2 shots from the same corner of the 3, wide open, but neither one went in. That's the name of the game here. But most of Michigan's 3-point shots were contested. Purdue played defense, which is something that can't be said for Michigan in this game. So C.J. Cox hit a 3 early. It was 13-2 Purdue early, and Michigan had to call a timeout before the 16-minute TV timeout just to stop the bleeding, but they couldn't. Wolf got a rebound and a putback, and Golden made a layup finally. But Cox hit another layup as well. Donaldson quieted the crowd with a 3 for a minute, but Kaufman-Wren made a jumper, and Michigan had their 6th turnover, leading into the first TV timeout of the game, which was 14 minutes and 17 seconds. It was 19-9 Purdue. Michigan already had 8 turnovers. Out of the TV timeout, Lawyer and Colvin both hit 3s for Purdue, and Michigan kept turning the ball over. Smith hit a jumper, and then Purdue had a jam, one of many in this game, as I see them working down low and getting it in versus our 7-footers easily here live. We are under 4 minutes to go. It's a 30-point game. Purdue 87, Michigan 57. Michigan saves the possession. Wolf, now they're all hesitant to shoot 3s, even though that's exactly what Michigan needed to do about 10 minutes ago, because they didn't make any all game. They were all contested. Donaldson just hit one. Too little, too late. So Michigan kept turning it over. Smith hit a jumper, and then Purdue jammed it home for a 29-9 lead for Purdue at the under 12 TV timeout in the first half. Burnett had a nice cut in the lane for a layup out of the timeout, but Burgess nailed a 3. Purdue finally turned the ball over, and Burnett got a jam, but Smith answered with a layup right after that. And then, instead of playing good defense, Michigan decided to play bad offense once again, and Purdue got more points off turnovers. Purdue was headed back to the line after an the under 8 TV timeout. It was 36-13. 12 minutes in. Michigan was moving and sometimes running with no purpose at all. Where's the ball movement? While Purdue was attacking the ball, give me it, it's mine. And they were getting away with it. They were getting away with it, and they were making their shots. They were 60% at one point in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they surpassed that for the totality at the end of this game. They were shooting lights out. So, that was a good start. But then instead of playing good defense, Michigan was moving. All right, so here we go. Cheddar got an and one, and it was a beautiful play because it came off nice ball movement. They worked it around the perimeter, got it into Cheddar. He drove. He had a nice reverse layup. English off the basket. It went in and one. He missed the free throw. And then Lawyer lost the ball off his foot when he was dribbling. It went right to a Purdue player. He picked it up, passed it right to Lawyer because everyone thought it was going to go out of bounds, and Lawyer made the three. It was that kind of a day. So, but when Golden is way out from the rim, way out on the three-point line, and he's jacking contested threes, that's a huge problem for Michigan. Because he needs to be down low. He's one of the biggest guys in the game. He needs to be fighting down there for rebounds. He needs to be getting the ball down there, but Purdue wouldn't allow it. Purdue would not allow it, so he had to take contested threes. So that's a huge problem for Michigan going forward. Kaysen came in, and he pumped the ball, and he took it to the house with English on a reverse layup for himself. Michigan put Kaysen in, the freshman, to try to get something going on offense, and I totally agreed with it. The problem is the other four players on the court didn't want to give him the ball. He had one wild shot, but I don't know what to say about how Dusty May runs his team, because they're 14-5 now. 4 of them are one possession losses, but they were 2 worst teams. We finally went up against a good top 10 team in Purdue at their house, and we found out what it's like to play one of those teams. Lost by probably 20 at least. Game's not over yet, but probably closer to 30. It's a different animal. Michigan just didn't have any purpose in their offense, and then the defense was non-existent because every point Purdue got was off turnovers in transition going the other way. So Kaysen coming in was something that I thought was going to be great, and he had that bucket. Golden had 2 points off a putback, offensive rebounds. That looked good. It was a 6-0 run for Michigan. But Smith answered, and it was 46-21 Purdue at the 2:45 mark in the first half. Out of the timeout, Donaldson threw it away again, and it was an alley-oop jam on the other end for first. Lawyer then hit a three. Purdue led 51-26 at halftime. Purdue was feisty in this game, but Michigan was terrible in the first half. Michigan had 10 turnovers, 8 really early. Michigan was 36% shooting, 1 of 16 in the first half from 3. Every one of them were contested. And Michigan was out-rebounded. We got 2 7-footers, a 6'10 guy. Can't we crash the boards? That's what Izzo and Michigan State has done for decades now in the Big Ten, and it helps them win games. Why aren't we doing that type of stuff? I know you want a high-flying offense. I know it gets butts and seats. I know all of that, but when it comes down to Big Ten play, you have to go to the least common denominator, and that is possessions. Possessions are the most important thing in any sport. If you can score on one and you don't turn it over on the other, you're gonna be damn hard to beat. And with the high flying offensive types of things that we have, the players that Dusty May brought in, I love them. But they all have to learn how to play now in the Big Ten. So the roster that Dusty May created is awesome. The guard play is horrific, and the defense needs to be a lot better. Going forward, no turnovers, make your free throws. So Purdue was feisty, but Michigan was terrible in the first half. And Dusty May needs to understand now how the Big Ten works and the importance of turnovers after this game. Purdue had 18 points off turnovers in that first half, when if Michigan didn't turn over half of those and they scored half of, if there was a 16-point swing, say, this would have been a game still for Michigan, even though Michigan wasn't shooting very well and wasn't playing good defense. So, to shorten games, create games going forward is what Dusty May needs to do. Emphasize turnovers. So, where are we at? In the second half, Michigan had an 8-2 run to open it up. Gale had 6 of those points. He had a nice rebound and then took it to the rim. And then he had a couple of free throws and then another layup. But Burgess hit a 3. And Colvin had a dunk off yet another turnover that made the score 60-34. And Michigan got nowhere after that nice little run they had at the under 16 TV timeout in the second half. At the under 12 TV timeout in the second half, Purdue continued to score easily wherever they could. Things were open. They were moving the ball, and they still are. And they're going to win this game handily. Michigan, every point that they earned in this game was a grind. Purdue's defense was in the grill of the Wolverines the whole game. And they only have 8 fouls here in the second half. Michigan has Walters in. He just hit a 3 late, so that's cool. It's 89-63 with 1:11 left. It's over. So, when Roddy Gale got the steal later in this game, off a poke away, and then he drove into the lane and then just threw it towards Trey Donaldson, and it went out of bounds. He just threw away another possession. I knew that Dusty is going to have to rethink this philosophy. Possessions matter. They have to matter. No matter how well of a fast offense and how well you shoot in a game, you have to limit the turnovers. You have to. It was 75-50 at the under 8 TV timeout, and unless Michigan was going to miraculously learn how to play defense and nail a lot of threes offensively, the game was over. Here we go, 28.8 seconds left. Michigan missed a free throw just now. I was just going to say, on the plus side, Michigan was 17 of 19 from the line at that point when I came on with you guys. He went 1 of 2. So Michigan's got a lot of things to work on going forward. They play Penn State on Monday, and they're at Rutgers on Saturday. So a couple easier opponents in the Big Ten. They should go 2-0 in that stretch and stay with the contenders in the conference. But Purdue, I think, is my team going forward. Congratulations, Purdue. Wow, 89. And you're at the line with 10.4 seconds left. I'm going to give you a final score here and then let you go. 90. 90. So much grit. So much grit, and that's what you need in the Big Ten. You know, talent is one thing, but in the Big Ten, you got to have grit. And I see LJ Cason running in there with no plan at all, but at least he had a little grit. He tried to get in there and score. There needs to be more ball movement. There needs to be more offensive sets. Dusty May needs to talk to John Beilein about this again, because John Beilein always led the nation in fewest turnovers. He was way up there, at least, in the best of that category, and they made threes. They didn't always make their free throws, which is another likeness of this team, but you know, it's only one loss. It's at Purdue in Mackey versus that crowd. So now Purdue has the head-to-head over Michigan. They are 8-2 in conference. Michigan is 6-2 in conference. Purdue has played 2 more games than Michigan. They are 16-5. Michigan is 14-5 now, losing 2 out of their last 3 games in the Big Ten because of these same problems. So what do you think? What do they have to do? Is Dusty May going to listen to me and emphasize and slow it down, bring the reins in for these horses? I love the horses he got, but they're moving too fast and they're a little too wild. Slow it in. Let's have a little bit more controlled offense going forward, I think, is what needs to happen. So there you go. My reaction of the beatdown that Michigan took versus Purdue. Thank you, everybody. Like the video, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and have a great day. But continue to say, go Blue.